and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial net center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. Here are the big stories we're tracking for you at this very moment. Senate to screen 7 ministerial nominees at the Red Chambers following a request for their confirmation by President Bola Tinubu last week. Ogun State government shuts down Obada Grammar School Obada in Idiemi over the death of Monday Ario and SS3 students of the school following corporal punishment. We're coming in here with breaking news coming in from the chambers of the Nigerian Senate saying that the proposed ministerial screening that was supposed to take place today at about this time, we're waiting and anticipating that screening to have started any moment from now, but we're getting information from the special advisor to the president on the office of the special advisor to the president on Senate matters, Senator Bashir Lado, saying that the scheduled screening of ministerial nominees has been postponed by the Senate. This is to allow all nominees to conclude all aspects of documentation and pre-screening exercise. The screening has been rescheduled for Wednesday, October the 30th, 2024 at noon prompt. That is the latest coming in so as the ministerial nominees are concerned. So you've seen 7 of them on screen, all brand new ministers joining the President Bola Tinubu's team. They include Nentawa Yewata, Mohammedu Dangieri, Bianca Odumego Juku, Jumoke Oduwale, Idi Mukhtar Maiha, Yusuf Atta, and Suwaiba Ahmed, whose portfolios have been attached for the very first time in a long while. We've seen portfolios attached, so the senators will have the opportunity to ask them direct questions relating to their ministries. But today, it's no longer going to happen today. It has now been shifted to tomorrow, Wednesday, October the 30th, according to latest communication from the presidency. And away from that, the Ogun State government has shut down Obada Grammar School over the death of Monday Ario and SS2 students of the school. This followed the arrest and subsequent suspension of the teacher allegedly responsible for the death of the student last Friday as a result of corporal punishment. The principal of the school, Tamrat Onalakbo, who was earlier issued a query for allowing corporal punishment to be used on the pupil against the establishment rules and regulation in the state, has also been suspended. The closure of the school was based on the directive of Governor Dapo Abiodun, who has also directed that a panel should be set up to investigate the circumstances that led to the unfortunate incident. To more stories now, the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities says they are open to concession if government is willing to meet them halfway over their demand for payment of their 4 months withheld salaries. That's as far back as 2022. And that's according to the president of the association, Mr. Mohammed Ibrahim, who was guest on our program, The Morning Brief. He says the leadership of the association have received some informal communication from the federal government while asking the Minister of Finance to speedily implement their payment to ensure they return to their jobs as soon as possible.
In terms of reaching out, yes, informally we've been reached out to, but we are not too excited about this reach out because we have had it severally. But we hope this time it will be different. But there's a very short way to solve this problem, and fastest way too. Every process and procedure has been followed. What is remaining is for the payment to be made. The government will just direct that this payment should be released. And with a touch of a button, because everything is electronic now, once the payments are made, it's just for us to refer back to our principals. And I assure you, because we are all responsible people, we will only, resume back to work. Nobody is happy to stay at home. So the prolonged renegotiations, talking on the table and so on, may not make much impact at the risk of sounding, this way. So what we want is action. The President has given the approval. The Ministry of Education has conveyed the approval. It is within the precincts of the Ministry of Finance. So the Minister of Finance should just do the needful, and that's all. Government is owing 4 months. They should pay 4 months. But if it is reasonability, and because we're all Nigerians and we have been seeing things, there is an offer of 2 months as conveyed by government officials, which we are not averse to. At least half bread is better than none. Even ASU has about 7.5 months. They pay them 4 months. They're still pushing for the rest. So if we have 4 months and you give us 2 months at a blow, why not? We will come back to work and then we will continue the discussion. There is already an approval for the payment to be made. So we cannot imagine somebody stopping it, but it is happening somehow. So as to how long we will push as long as that approval subsists.
So apparently they are ready for a middle ground conversation. If you pay them 2 months, they may return back to work, according to the president of SANU. Let's bring you more stories now. Northern governors are asking the federal legislators that represent their areas to oppose tax reform bill on the grounds that northern state could be, in their words now, shortchanged, asserting that multinationals who pay the high chunk of taxes are not headquartered in the north. The chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, Governor Mohammed Yahya of Gombe State, in a communique reeled out in the North's disapproval of the tax bill that would have VAT shared according to states in which it's derived. The proposed amendment sought to adopt the derivation-based VAT distribution in that the states which generate high taxes will benefit more than states which generate less. Mr. Enua contended that the North will receive the short end of the stick because majority of the big companies do not have their headquarters in northern states. Now, Section 40 of the current VAT Act allocates 15% of revenue to the federal government, 50% goes to the states and the FCT, while 35% are allocated to the local government. The governors are seeking the sensitivity to fiscal policy and the need to upgrade infrastructure in their region as well.
Forum knows with dismay the content of the recent tax bill that was forwarded to the National Assembly. The contents of the bill are against the interests of the North and other subnationals, especially the proposed amendment to the distribution of value-added tax to derivation-based model. This is because companies remit VAT using location of their headquarters and tax office, and not where the services and goods are consumed. In view of the foregoing, the Forum unanimously rejects the proposed tax amendments and calls on members of the National Assembly to oppose any bill that can jeopardize the well-being of our people. For the avoidance of doubt, the Northern Governors Forum is not averse to any policies or programs that will ensure the growth and development of the country. However, the Forum calls for equity and fairness in the implementation of all national policies and programs.
Well, so that was a meeting that held yesterday in Kaduna State. We had the Northern Governors, 19 of them, converging on Kaduna for this particular meeting. They reeled out a couple of things. One of the highlights is the fact that they're saying the model that has been adopted in the new tax reform they are going to reject it. Their simple reason is because the model, according to them, says that where taxes are generated more, those ones get more of the revenue that is accruing from taxes. And they say most of the companies that pay taxes to where the headquarters of their companies are, not where the product they produce or the services they offer is being consumed. And so there will be shortchanged at the end of the day. So it's an argument back and forth as far as this model of taxing is concerned. Let's see how it plays out. We're being joined in the program by the senator representing Kaduna South Senatorial District, Senator Kawu Sumaila. He joins us from Abuja studio. Distinguished, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you. Welcome.
All right, I will need your immediate reaction to this latest development from the northern governors. We know that there's the issue of the blackout in the north that the president has directed and even given orders to the NSA to ensure that security is provided for the people that will repair whatever is vandalized so that the north can get back power and businesses can thrive yet again. But there's other issue of taxation that the governors are saying, look, this VAT model that is being proposed, this derivative VAT model that is being proposed, where the more you generate, the more you get, is not going to work for us because most of these companies, they are not headquarters where we are. What's your reaction?
Okay, Jeffrey, thank you. But before reaction, let me correct the introduction. I am representing Kano South Senatorial District, not Kaduna South.
Kano South, my apologies. Kano South, my apologies. My apologies.
Thank you. Quite all right. I had the resolution of Northern Governors Forum yesterday. It is a very good development. This is what we are looking from them as leaders from their own state. But the most important aspect of the resolution, I think, is beyond sending a communique to us through media. We need to understand the gray areas, we, the lawmakers, the legislators, for us to understand the nitty-gritty of the bill. You know, it is a constitutional representation, and we are guided by the Constitution. You cannot in any way sit down somewhere else and start giving directive to an arm of the government. It is a business of discussion, dialogue, persuasion, and understanding. We need to sit down and understand what is their own thinking and what is our own thinking. Finally, to arrive in a position where Nigerians will benefit from our effort. But I think the approach is wrong. We need to sit down with them, discuss the finding or the gray area of the bill. We are ready. We are ready, and we are more than ready to do anything possible for the benefit or to the betterment of the welfare of our people in accordance with the provision of Nigerian Constitution. We are more than ready, but I think we need to sit down and understand ourselves and work together. I think this is the best way of the approach.
Okay, so just one more question as far as this issue of this tax or VAT model, as it is called, is concerned. I'm trying to get the exact way it was described. Is it not time for the North as well to begin to look at what it can do? Because you're a leader in the North, as it were, in Kano specifically. And Kano is the biggest in terms of number of local governments in Nigeria. Is it not time to begin to have conversation on how the North can begin to think of how it can reposition its perception as a hub for economic activities to thrive beyond the headlines of insecurity and all of that, that perhaps had stopped companies from coming in as much as they should? Because Kano, for instance, and Kaduna used to be a hub, or some Kaduna, for instance, the textile industry that was there in those days and all of that. Isn't it time for us to begin to have that conversation? How can we repurpose the perception such that we can minimize the level of insecurity as a people, because we're talking one Nigeria now, so that companies can begin to come in that direction? All of this will not be an issue at the end of the day.
I think the issue of tax is one issue. Then there are so many issues. There are so many variables which we need to know, which we need to look into. And we need to put our head together and provide the platform for business to flourish in northern Nigeria. We need security. And there are so many things which we need to do. And as a parliament, as a representative of the people, we are doing our best. Something that will give a rapid development to, more especially from the grassroots. That is the reason why we insist that there must be an autonomy, financial and political autonomy to the local government. Let us take the development to the grassroots. The insecurity is from there. Therefore, let us address it from that level. If we achieve in downsizing the level of insecurity in the rural area, definitely we will get it right. Most of the insecurity now in the cities is to do with rural-urban migration, which is very, very serious and fundamental. Therefore, we need to do a lot. It is beyond tax. We need to sit down and discuss a lot. We need to put our head together. We need to join hands together with all agencies and arms of government to see how we can move this country forward. Governors or state governors are very important component in Nigerian politics or in Nigerian project. Therefore, they need to understand that they must do something from their own part. They must respect and understand the working of democracy, how they can work together and allow the provision of our constitution to prevail from the grassroots. It is from there, more especially in northern Nigeria. Mr. Joyfrey, let me repeat it. Last time, when we are debating local government autonomy, I presented to the Senate that from the Chief of Defense Staff, he confirms that there is serious correlation between insecurity in northern Nigeria and local government administration. The major cause of insecurity in northern Nigeria is local government administration. We need to do a lot from there. And the main responsibility and the main task is for our governors to believe that they are not alpha and omega. They need to allow the democracy to work from the grassroots. It is through inclusivity. When there is inclusiveness, then the democracy will work. Let everybody be part of Nigerian project. There is a wisdom where we structure our federal system into 3: federal, state, and local government. It is very, very important. And there are so many issues which we need to do on to develop our state, not Kano or Kaduna alone. Take agriculture, irrigation. I think among the 10 countries in the world, the most populous countries in the world, it is only Nigeria where we are importing everything, food. Therefore, we need to do a lot. We have
Senator,
land, we have the platform, we have everything which we can feed ourselves and the export food. Let our state governors believe that it is not our major and critical issue now is beyond, but I know it is very important.
Okay.
And I am supporting everything that will promote generation of additional revenue to our state and local
all right,
government.
Senator, if I may comment.
To benefit from the current system.
Okay, apparently that debate is on as to whether the bill will be rejected or reviewed because of what they are protesting against, as to simply saying, if you bring more to the table, you get more from the table. That's simply what that grammar is really all about. But I'm happy you mentioned the fact...
No, this is not the way we are doing... This is not the way we are doing our work. It will... Maybe it will go for the first reading. Then in the second reading, we will do the general principle of the bill. Everybody will come up with his own position. We will go for public hearing. Nigerians will come and contribute. Everything will be put on the table. At the end, you need to know that it is a constitutional representation. We are not representing ourselves, we are representing people. Therefore, the people's voice will prevail. It is not all about legislators, it's about Nigerians.
I understand. I understand you perfectly. I was just trying to give maybe a layman's explanation as to the cause of the debate, as to just saying that the rules seem to be, the reforms seem to be, if you generate more VAT, you get more from the VAT. So, however, how it will play out on the floor of the houses of whether the Senate or the House of Assembly or the House of Reps is a different kettle of fish. But let's move on now. I know you've mentioned the issue of local government and how it has to be allowed to thrive. And we're seeing local government elections. In your state, Kano State, for instance, an election has just held. And NNPP, your party, won literally every seat, from chairmanship to local government to councillorship. And people are wondering, these sweeping polls by, and it's not just NNPP, it's across board. APC, PDP, NNPP, across board. It looks like the INEC chairman calls it coronation, not an election. How can we have effective representation and true democracy that will trickle down to the people? Because the framers of our constitution and the people who divided and these tiers of government designed it so that dividend of democracy can get to the grassroots. But it appears politicians have turned it to an army at the grassroots for political structure. What do we do? Your party is also guilty.
Well, it is very unfortunate. All the parties are in the same frequencies. They are working from the same on the same frequency. When you go to Kano, it's NNPP. When you go to Bauchi, it's PDP. When you go to Sokoto, it's APC. Therefore, it is all the way. I am totally against it. I am not in support of what is going in the local government, and I am an advocate of free, fair, and acceptable election. This is what brought me to the Senate, this 2023, and it is what brought me to the House back 2003 against the wish of incumbent, against the wish of state governors and federal state governor and federal government or the ruling party. Therefore, I'm not in support of what is going on in the local government. There must be free, fair in each and every stage of election, pre-election period, election period, and post-election period. It is unfortunate. And I am totally disturbed of what is going on, more especially where all the opposition party are queuing, following the step of ruling party. That is the reason why I refuse to participate in the process. For almost 2 or 3 local government elections, I am not participating. And if I have a chance, I will insist that there must be a democratically elected representative from local government, state, and federal government. The only thing that you will do for Nigeria as now is to allow the people to elect their leaders, no matter how. Nobody has the monopoly of knowledge. Nobody can say that, okay, I know what is better for this community or for that community.
So that
we have 400...
My apologies, so that I can take as many questions as possible. So I'm plating, because apparently the state governors have failed by that assessment, because if any election is organized in the state, that the government in part wins entirely the local government seat. Is it time for INEC to now take over? Do you propose that INEC should take over the conducting local government elections?
Quite all right. I can support INEC. I can support INEC.
Okay. All right, let's...
I can't hear.
No, you've just responded to the question. Now, there's another concern.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Senator, can you hear me?
I can't hear you. I am not here.
Okay, so I'm sure our guys, engineers are trying to sort that out so that the distinguished can hear us at the time. Senator, can you hear me now?
Yes, okay, I can hear you.
Okay, Senator, you can hear me, right? Okay, let's just get straight to the next question. I wanted to find out from you before I ask you my last question. How does this threaten local government autonomy? Because where we have governors literally installing their cronies at the local government level, this whole touting of local government autonomy, because suddenly it's quite miraculous and surprising to see some states have not had local government elections for as long as we can remember, but because money is involved, few days to the deadline given by the federal government as moratorium say conduct or you lose money, everybody suddenly has time to conduct local government election. Are we going to have real autonomy at the end of the day? Because for as long as we can remember, but because money is involved, few days to the deadline. Senator? Senator Kao, can you hear me? Oh dear. Oh boy.
Very difficult.
Okay.
That is the reason why in our resolution, in our last motion we took in the floor of the Senate, we urge Mr. President to organize a discussion, a political discussion to call all the relevant stakeholders from the state, National Assembly members, civil society, judiciary, all of us. Let us meet under one umbrella, under a roof, to discuss the future of local government in Nigeria. Whether we do it in the National Assembly, no matter how good it is, the 36 state governors has a final say because they pocketed the state assembly. The state assemblies are robust term of the state assembly of the state governors. Therefore, it is difficult for them to pass any legislation which is against the wish of the state governors. Therefore, it is very serious. But I believe with growing with the pressure on the ground now, it clearly shows that people will start doing something serious against this situation, because the level of poverty, more especially in northern Nigeria, the level of insecurity, the level of decay of the government facilities in northern Nigeria is concerning. It is a serious alarm. Therefore, I think people will start revolting the action or inaction of our state assemblies and state governors. Definitely, when you are doing it now, you will enjoy and you will not happy with what I am saying. But immediately you left the government house, you will start regretting your action and start receiving the consequences of your action. This is what happened. Most of the former governors in the floor of the Senate are in support of local government autonomy. But when they are there, they are fighting it. But when they came out to the real world, they realize that there is need for us to have efficient and effective local government system. More especially, I am repeating it, more especially in northern Nigeria. Finally, I will highlight some variables to you, which they arrived or which they achieved in this constitution. We have derivation from the South-South. Definitely it is used to solve the problem of the South-South, no matter how. And in northern Nigeria, when you come to the northern Nigeria, where poverty, for example, the lack of education, because of our landmass, our terrain, very poor terrain, we have local government.
All right.
We have some additional local government.
All right, Senator.
More than the southern part of the country.
All right. Senator, if you can hear me.
To balance the equation.
Yeah, just land on your thought in 10 seconds. We're totally out of time. 10 seconds. But
okay.
totally.
Well, quite all right. I think I am happy with the position of the governors, but they need to know this is not the way they address the National Assembly. Right. They need to come up with something. Sit down with the leadership and some leaders of the National Assembly or interest group in the National Assembly to understand ourselves what are the gray area in the bill. Then let us take what is good and leave what is bad. You cannot address a National Assembly from your meeting room. It is totally wrong, and it can't work this way. And maybe they have a representation, or they are part of the National Economic Council. Therefore, before decision, they need to agree and disagree from there before taking their position outside. It is a very sensitive issue.
All right, we're totally out of time. Thank you so much, Senator Kyle Sumaila, Senator representing Kano South. I want to be sure I'm correct this time. And
Kano South, not the Kaduna South.
Kano South. And you're also the chairman of the Committee on Petroleum Resources Downstream. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Thank you. And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and company. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Bye-bye.